The Denver Nuggets just did one of the most unexplainable things in NBA history by firing both their GM and their head coach a week or two away from the playoffs while holding a top 5 seed in the West. And the reason why everyone is baffled about this is due to the fact that the Denver Nuggets firing Mike Malone makes absolutely zero sense right now. Now, I don't know exactly why Mike Malone was fired, and I don't think anyone will know exactly why Mike Malone was fired, but I have to assume that something inside the organization happened and something internal happened. We all saw that clip of Nikola Jokic arguing and yelling at his teammates on the sideline, a bunch of complaining and a bunch of other things that he was clearly upset with the way that the team was playing, and I think that kind of spilled over into the business of Mike Malone. Mike Malone now has no job and no future in the NBA because he is getting older, but he is a very good coach. He just is one of the better coaches in the NBA. It is quite literally one of the most unexplainable pieces of business made by an NBA franchise, especially when we think about that he was with this team for a decade. It is crazy to me that he has actually been fired by the Nuggets this close to playoff times. The Denver Nuggets are currently in one of the biggest, not the biggest, but one of the biggest dogfights ever. The Western Conference has become the biggest, if not the biggest dogfight ever, in which there are so many teams in playoff contention. All the way from the 8th seed to this 3rd seed, every team is separated by, you guessed it, 2 games. There is 2 games separating the 3 seed to the 8 seed, and either one of those teams can walk out a victor in the sense that they will not have to complete in the play-in. Now, the Timberwolves, it does look a little bleak. Everybody else, they are literally right into it. And we are at game number 79 so far for all these teams. There are 3 games left to go. A lot can happen in these 3 games. If I had to guess, the Lakers will make it, the Nuggets will make it, the Warriors will make it, and I think that the Clippers will make it. I don't think it's going to change much, but I think it's still going to be very close. The same thing happened with Memphis when they fired Taylor Jenkins, but the difference was that the Memphis Grizzlies didn't fire their GM as well. The Denver Nuggets cleaned house, which makes no sense. Why would you fire your coach this close to playoff time? Why would you fire your coach this close to taking on the hardest part about the NBA season, which is the playoff? Now, I do understand that the Denver Nuggets have been underwhelming all season. That's not hidden. That's not a thing that's been hidden from the word at all. The Denver Nuggets have been low-key awful this season. They have been terrible in terms of expectations. A team with Jamal Murray, Russell Westbrook, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, they should be contending for the 1st seed in the West, but instead they're fighting for their lives to not have to play in the play-in. That's what I think comes into the decision to fire Mike Malone. Nikola Jokic looks unhappy. The team wasn't really blending together. The bench play wasn't great. They blew some bad games. Mike Malone's only going to get older. Maybe Mike Malone was losing the dressing room a little bit, he was losing the locker room. I don't know exactly what went into it. We may never know the exact details, but what I'm saying is the big problem with this firing is how close it is to playoff time. You're going to have a culture change and a culture shock within a week or 2 of the playoffs starting, and what's going to be the most important part of their season. It's not going to be a good thing. Anybody, Denver fans, Denver players, Denver anything. It was an awful decision to fire those 2 people. If you want to fire them in the offseason. What you don't do is you don't go out of your way to fire Mike Malone right now. It makes no sense. Nikola Jokic is having arguably the best season of his career right now, and there's still games to go. He's averaging 30 points, 10 assists, and 13 rebounds a game. Those are otherworldly numbers. He's averaging a triple-double. He's literally like Russ, and I don't want to say that Russ and Jokic are like on the same tier of player, but he's definitely putting up prime Russell Westbrook stat lines when you think about it. Why is Jokic's name Big Honey? I've never seen anyone call Jokic Big Honey. That's insane. But Nikola Jokic, first of all, deserves MVP. Okay, he just does. He's been better than Shea this year. He's been more valuable than Shea this year. And I almost made today's video on the idea of how the Thunder are the best team in NBA history. This year's Thunder, I believe that they're the best team in NBA history. I think the most complete team in NBA history. I wouldn't expect the Nuggets to contend with the Thunder, but they should for sure be contending with this young Houston Rockets team for the 2nd spot in the West. They should be. They just should be. The Denver Nuggets have underperformed this year. They should have about 55 wins in my opinion. They are underperforming by about 8 games, and I hate it. I hate it because I just feel like they should be doing better, but that's why I'm not too against the Mike Malone firing. The more that I think about it, I just think that you should have waited until the offseason started. And I feel like if they needed an excuse to fire him, maybe couldn't wait till playoff time. In order to fire a head coach nowadays, you need to have a very good reason to. There has to be some sort of backing behind it. You can't just kick him out the door and say, your services here aren't needed anymore. You're the 5th seed in the West. Get out. I feel like honestly, the problem is the fact that if the Denver Nuggets went on a playoff run, and if let's say they made the Western Conference Finals or semifinals or even the NBA Finals, okay? If the Nuggets found a groove and then they fired Mike Malone, there would be bigger riots than there are right now. People would be more shocked. I think that they wanted to get rid of the idea that they're going to need an excuse to fire Mike Malone. Firing him now leads to the immediate change of culture, and it doesn't allow them to have Mike Malone build up a case to stick around. Mike Malone now cannot win a playoff series. He cannot go win a second playoff series. He can't say that, oh, he made the MVP Nikola Jokic. He can't do that. He can't do any of that. Mike Malone is just gone. And for whatever reason, whether it was Jokic and playing on the bench, whatever it was, he's gone. He's not coming back. And I feel like they needed to fire him before he gave them a reason not to. I think that it's not ridiculous to fire Mike Malone. I'm not going to sit here and act like Mike Malone is completely an awful coach. I do think he's carried by Nikola Jokic a little bit, but I think he is a good NBA level head coach. 100%. Mike Malone is a good coach, but can you do better is the argument. This is how I feel about Tennessee and Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes is a very good coach, but he's never made it to the Final Four. Same thing with Brian Kelly at LSU. Brian Kelly's a very good coach, but he can't get him to that next step. At what point do you just decide you're a great coach, you're a good coach, you've gotten us winning seasons, but you can't bring us that glory? And I know the Nuggets won a ring, but since then, what's happened? And besides that one season, what's happened? You have the greatest player in the world right now, Nikola Jokic, on your team. You need to capitalize. There is no time to wait. There is no time to wait. You have to bring in as many rings as possible for Jokic now. And I think that by getting a new head coach who is arguably better, I don't know who they're going to hire. I have zero idea. Probably some assistant coach that nobody's ever heard of that's going to turn out to be pretty good, if I had to guess. But I don't think Mike Malone was going to be that guy to make the Denver Nuggets into the team that they want to be. Jamal Murray is getting older. He's nearing 30. Jokic is on the other side of 30. MPJ is pushing 30. Aaron Gordon's like 33. The time to win for the Nuggets is now. And clearly Mike Malone wasn't going to make them win a championship now. Maybe I'm trying to be too justifiable with this, but the fact that people think that you have to keep Mike Malone around just because he has a winning record, you don't. You just don't. I don't think he would have been that guy to bring them a championship. That's just my take. Appreciate you guys for watching. As always, like and sub for more content. And yeah, let's go.